Welcome to another episode of Behind the Dreamers. I am Jennifer Loading, and we are talking to the achievers, the creators, the magic makers, and the dreamers. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photography. If you are a creator needing post-production, consultation, or promotion, Walt Mills is your guy. Whether short films, YouTube films, photography work, or a new headshot, he can help you find a solution to match your needs. To learn more about Walt and his work, go to photosbywalt.com. We also want to give a shout out to our friend Chris Clow of Upbeat Media Productions. If you are in need of turnkey special event production, Chloe is your go-to. You can learn more about him and his work at upbeatmediapro.com. All right. We are super excited to welcome our guest today, Leia Hunt. I'm excited to have her here. And just to tell our audience a little bit about you, Leia, and then we are going to jump into this. Okay. Leia is a two-time childhood cancer survivor, founder of the nonprofit known as Leia's Kids, podcast host, inspirational speaker, and author of My Battle Plan Journal. Leia was diagnosed with retinoblastoma, a rare form of eye cancer, when she was 2 years old. Leia's battle with childhood cancer resulted in undergoing 26 surgical procedures, multiple rounds of chemotherapy, and ultimately the insertion of a radioactive plaque in her left eye. The radiation ultimately defeated her cancer, but left her blind in the left eye. These circumstances defined Leia's life. She says her cancer battle truly began as she grew up with side effects from treatment, being half blind and navigating her youth, knowing she was different. Leia has turned this devastation of her childhood cancer into a testimony of both hope and faith. She's passionate about sharing her story, and she is the founder, of course, of Leia's Kids, a 501c3 nonprofit, and created this organization at 18 years old, which I think is so impressive, while a senior in high school. So welcome to the show, Leia. We're super excited to have you here and talk about your story and let everybody know all these great things that you are doing.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for having me. I am so honored, so excited. And yeah, let's get this party started.
Absolutely. Well, I want to jump on because, one of the really neat things about what we get to do on this podcast and what I love about it is really talking about you guys and your stories and what you're doing in the community and how you're changing lives. And so many people come on and we have people from all different ages, all different walks of life. But one thing I really love is when I have like young people come on here. This just really makes me excited to see young people thriving, kicking butt out there, doing amazing things in society, and just watching you guys like kind of grow in this process. You know what I mean? So I'm just excited about what you're doing and what you've created, and the fact that you were so young when you did this and you're still so young. You know what I mean? Like all this amazingness behind you. So I want to talk a little bit about this foundation because I think it's amazing. Tell us a little bit about it. Obviously, we talked about your story here. Tell us what this is, what you're doing, and how you're making a difference with it.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So, wow, Leia's Kids. I love Leia's Kids. Okay. So I started Leia's Kids as you said, I was 18 years old. I was a senior in high school, and I fought cancer. I was in remission, and I knew that I wanted to do more with my fight, with my journey. I truly believe that God had me here for a reason. And I wanted to be boots on the ground, a soldier for these kids and these families fighting childhood cancer. I had the personal experience of being in treatment, being out of treatment, watching people I cared through go through it, watching how it affected my family. So I went to my parents, and on my 18th birthday, because you have to be 18 to file the paperwork to run a nonprofit, I filed that paperwork. It was my birthday, and I didn't know exactly, the path that God was going to take me on with Leia's Kids and how exactly it all was going to look and be. But sometimes you just have to take that first step. And so what Leia's Kids does is our mission is to give hope and financial assistance to families fighting childhood cancer. And so how we do that is, one, we do donate directly to the family. So it's to the family, for the family. We give them a donation for them to use to cover miscellaneous costs, because every single family's battle with childhood cancer is so different. And those costs add up outside of medical bills. You have, gas, because a lot of kids travel out of state for treatment. You go from maybe a 2-family income to a 1-family income. So now you have one parent staying at the hospital. You need childcare for your other children. The kiddo, body weight fluctuates a lot in treatment, especially during the times they're receiving chemo. So now you're getting a new wardrobe. You're doing all those miscellaneous things mom and dad have to eat while they're in the hospital, only the kids getting food. So all those things add up. And so when my family fought, I saw that there was a gap between, insurance and the needs of the day-to-day lives that these families have. So I created Leah's Kids to fund that, because no family should ever have to choose between going to work or sitting at the bedside of their child. And then additionally, with that, what Leah's Kids does is we host parties for the kids. So they are called a Crown a Kid party. And this is an all-inclusive, tailored directly to the family, customized party that the family would have. So the family can be a family, because the family role is so important. And a lot of time they're separated. A sibling's in the hospital and the others are at home. They're not all together. So if we can bring the family together and let them do whatever they want. So they get to pick the party, and then we make that come to life. So maybe they want princesses, maybe they want an overnight stay, maybe they want to meet a singer, whatever it is, we kind of make that come to life. And so we service families 0 to 18, any type of childhood cancer. We dominantly focus on the North Texas area, but we also serve families nationwide. And it's super simple. We have a nomination form on our website, and anyone can really nominate their family or a caregiver. So there's a whole bunch more that Leah's Kids does. We have the podcast, we have the battle plan journals that we've published, a variety, but our core is that financial assistance. And then along with that financial assistance, we give the family a day to be a family.
Yeah, I think this is remarkable. And I think what's so, I guess, wonderful, and not that you had to go through this, but you mentioned something in early on, and that you saw the need, like you saw the gap because you went through this and your family witnessed this. And so I think, so many of these, I think what's remarkable about so many of these like foundations and businesses, when you have somebody that actually has been able to walk in that path, and they can say, hey, I know where the need is, and now I can create something that is going to fill that void and be able to share that with other people. So I think this is remarkable. But I also, like I mentioned over and over, I think the fact that you decided to do this at such a young age. And I'm like, did you just wake up one day, Leah, and you're like, I'm going to do this. Like, I need to make this happen,
It's been quite a journey, especially starting it young. It's been very neat to see how Leah's Kids has grown up with me. I started the nonprofit at 18. I'm now 22. And so over those years and being in high school and graduating and moving and going here and going there, Leah's Kids has evolved and has grown up with me. It's kind of like I am raising a child in the form of a business. And as I get older, Leah's Kids gets older. So we're on this path together, which is very neat to be a part of. So I definitely, starting Leah's Kids at a young age was the best decision I could have made for myself. And you have a lot more years of the wiggle room in the growing years. So when I do need to be, living on my own and, all those different things that come with adulting post-college, you already have that created for you. And that has been very neat to experience. Yeah. It's very different. I won't say it hasn't always been easy and beautiful starting it young. You go and you run into problems with being young, but then you also run into problems with peers. That is a whole other situation that you don't really think about until you're experiencing it. And so that was an interesting hurdle that really came about. And me, I'm like, well, I just want to help people. And then, but it's been well so far.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that you're talking there, because that kind of leads me into my next question. Some of the things that you had to overcome to make this happen, because starting a 501c3 is not easy. Like, honestly, I wouldn't even know where to start. I've never done one. I wouldn't know. So that means you got to go do research, and you got to learn, there's paperwork to file, and, and all of that. And so what, you mentioned, getting through your peers and stuff, because you're doing something that rest of the people are not really doing, right? And they're looking at you and going, what are you doing? Like, what is that? Right. Mm-hmm. So would you say that, you mentioned that's a challenge, but was there anything else that kind of came up that you thought, man, this is kind of a tricky thing I've had to really navigate through? I know you have a board of directors. Am I correct? You have that on your board, which is, I think, amazing. Congratulations. What else do you feel like was maybe something you had to work through to get this to where it is today?
Right. So I think really just learning the nonprofit world, it is its own business. We're not in the for-profit world and that type of business, but the nonprofit world is still a very like businessy. And that took me a hot minute to really grasp as a kid. I was like, well, I know people are donating, and being young, I was like, well, I'm trying to help people. Don't people want to help me help people? But there's always a give and the take. And sometimes when you have supporters, sometimes it's like, I'll pat your back, you pat my back. It's still a business mindset. And it took me a little bit to really come to, okay, this is how people operate in the nonprofit world. And so that was interesting. And I ran into, I call them the sharks of the nonprofit world. I ran into a few sharks and I would have meetings and had a few people say some things. And I was like, okay, so not everyone wants to do it for kindness, but sometimes there's more to that. And so I would say that was a tricky thing at first to grasp, and to get in the heads of how the business world works, especially like I was 18, 19 years old working with 45-year-old grown men who were driving Lamborghinis and, had beach houses. And I'm like, okay, so different lifestyle, let's roll with it. So that on that aspect, but then also just like for the board, it took me a little while to form my board. It took me more time to really discover, okay, what does Leia's Kids need, where to find these people, how to like form that relationship. It takes time. Each thing takes time. And that is a lesson I've had to learn. I'm a very go-getter. I'm like, oh, let's form a board. Okay, let's have it up and running by next week. In my mind, that's how quick I want to operate. But sometimes you have to take a step back. And sometimes it's calling people who have nonprofits and asking them 100 questions and asking how they run. And really like being okay with not knowing everything. I say that would be like my greatest piece of advice, because just be humble and just be like, hey, I want to do this, but I don't really know exactly where to turn to, and being comfortable with being uncomfortable and being okay asking people. And like I had to do that. I had to get on the phone and be like, okay, I'm forming the Leia's Kids board. What should be my first step? And from phone calls and researching and reading and getting those books, Nonprofit for Dummies and all those things, and putting it all together, and then surrounding yourself by people that want to help you. That was the most helpful in a world of the unknown.
Yeah, this is a lot of good food for thought here, Leia. Thank you on that. I do think, you said some great things there. And I think a lot of times, you've got to be kind of a student of the learning, especially when you're trying something new. And I think what's really great about in the position that you're at is that, you're kind of young enough where you're like, I don't know it all. Like, just give me what I need to know to make me better and make this up and running. Right. Whereas sometimes I think as we get older, we get set in our ways and we think we know everything. And it's like, oh, I got that. Right. I got that. And we know that, no, really, it takes a village to build things. Right. And that's the thing about nonprofits. I have a lot of friends that are in nonprofits and they all say the same thing. You have to ask around and talk to people. And I was getting a chuckle when you were talking about, talking to these 45-year-old men with Lamborghinis. And Leah's like, I just want to give money to help the people. Right. Like, why does this have to be so hard? Like we don't want to. You have a good heart. You have a servant's heart. And that's the thing. Out in the real world, not everybody has the servant heart, right? Like we know that. And that's why when I pull people on this podcast, I vet everybody that comes on here, because I'm looking for people that are emulating the same kind of mindset and model that I do in business. And that is, we know that in order to do things, we have to do unscalable things in life. We have to do things for other people in order to get what we want out of life. Right? We just know that. So I love what you're doing. And I love all that you just talked about. I think it's powerful, information. I know you had something big just happen, because I saw something. Did I not see something that you accomplished, made happen? The you've done?
So a whole bunch of different things. So about 2 weeks ago, I gave my first TED Talk, which was very exciting. That is a whole other dynasty that is in the world, the TED Talk dynasty. So that was very neat to be a part of. Definitely very honored and loved that. We have signed into action 3 proclamations here in North Texas, stating that cities in North Texas are going gold for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. We have a huge photo shoot actually this upcoming weekend for kids all throughout North Texas that are fighting cancer. They are coming for an all-inclusive day. We have a formal NFL Dallas Cowboy coming. We have Miss Teen USA, Miss USA International coming. So that is a big project that we have rolling out here in less than 48 hours. So we're very excited. Later this week, we're actually going to DC to go work with some legislators. And really, I'm going to go speak down there for a few days with a huge cancer nonprofit world known as CureFest. So I hope that I hit the one that you were talking about.
I wanted to hear all of them. I saw your TED Talk or your notification the other day that you did a TED Talk, and wow, you've had so many amazing accomplishments in just this short time, and it's impressive. I'm inspired by all your I think the go getting, the making the things happen, and because really, I feel like in order to make anything happen, we have to make it happen. Like we have to get out there and be uncomfortable with, like you said, be uncomfortable, right? To do these things.
Right.
The things that you're doing are impactful and they're making a difference and you're stepping out. And I love it. I think it's, like I said, I love it. I love to see young people doing things like this. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, what I've learned is that we all have these dreams and these hopes of these amazing things that we want to do with our lives. And it really just comes down to taking the first step. And what is that first step going to look like? Maybe it's an email. Maybe it's just asking someone to help you. And so when I have all these wild, fun visions of what I want next for Leah's Kids, it all starts within my Gmail. It all starts with me calling someone on my board or calling my mom and being like, okay, this is what I want to do next. And then from there, you'll see like one piece leads to another piece. And, when I was younger, I'd look back on people who are putting on either huge events or huge golf tournaments or, a concert and be like, wow, look how many people fill the stands. And then now as I'm getting older, I'm realizing, okay, it just all starts with one person's vision. And that leads to an email and that leads to this and that leads to that. And that is just normal human beings doing what they're called to do or living out what their passion is. And really that's what makes the world go round. And that's how we have so many different new ideas in the world because it's someone living out their passion. And that's my favorite. It's just to sit back and watch people live their passion. It's so fun.
I definitely see you as kind of the idea, the creator, the dreamer type personality.
Yes.
I'm that way too. I come up with the ideas and then it's like, now how do we get the ideas into reality, right? You said something very good. Taking the next step, whatever that next step be, whether it be email, calling someone. I always, when I used to work with teams and I would train them, I would always say, if you're stuck and you don't know where to go, you probably need to talk to somebody. Now, whatever form that is, whether that's email, phone call, face-to-face at a networking, whatever that looks like, I don't know for every person, right? But it usually means you need to get out and get to talking with somebody because that's where ideas are generated, right? And sometimes you hear one thing from somebody that inspires an idea that you come up with. It may not be theirs, but it may be a piece that you needed to hear to add to what you're trying to create. So good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely the visionary within the Leah's Kids team. I am the visionary and I had to find someone to come be the integrator and take the ideas and make the spreadsheet and make the steps. Cause I'm like, okay, here's my idea. This is what I want to do.
Happen.
But then it's like, okay, so we need to call this person. We need to contact this and who's this and what about this? So yeah, I definitely I'm the visionary for sure. That's my wheelhouse.
It's awesome. Now, this is kind of a fun question. So are you an only child or do you have other siblings?
Okay. So I have 4 other siblings. I am the 3rd kiddo out of 5.
Wow. Very cool. And are the other kiddos kind of part of this little vision that you got? Are they like the cheerleaders behind all of this?
So everybody helps out in their own different way, which has been really neat to see. I have my brother. He actually serves as the COO of Leah's Kids. And so he helps me a lot with the inside operations. And okay, so I'll back up a little bit. So I'm the third out of five. I have three sisters and one brother. And so I have Logan, Lauren, Leah, Lucia, and Liliana. And so my brother's the oldest. He is in the Army. And so he's stationed out in Maryland. And then I have an older sister, Lauren, who's a nurse, and she's in Ohio. Then me, and then my two younger sisters, one's in college and one's in high school. And so we're a very tight, close-knit group. And then I also have both my mom and dad who are very active within Leah's Kids, which has been a great blessing. My mom serves as the vice president on our board, and she's really just our logistics person. She helps integrate all my crazy ideas. And so they all are involved in their own way. You know, they support, they cheerlead, they come to as many events as they can. My youngest little sister, Lily, just because she's the youngest and she's still in high school. So we actually created the first ever childhood cancer princess. And so this princess is known as Princess Marigold. And there is nothing in the world like her. She's the first ever princess that has fought cancer, has overcome it, and her mission is to bring joy-filled smiles to kids fighting pediatric cancer. And so I created Princess Marigold because when I would talk to these kids, I would see and hear them say things like, what did I do wrong to get cancer? You know, should I give up? Is God mad at me? Mom and dad think it's karma. Like all these different, very sad, very real definitions that they would think of why they were fighting. And I kind of took a step back and I was like, what is the one thing that a little kid can connect with the most? Royalty. Princesses, princes, kings, knights, they can connect and they see like that's the highest thing on earth that their little minds can connect with are these royal princesses. So I created a princess who fought cancer. And I now take this princess to these kiddos and I'm like, look, Princess Marigold fought cancer. And if she is this royalty, she has her own kingdom. She, you know, has her own knights and her own gowns and tiaras and all these beautiful things. She fought cancer and she is still good. Like, look how good and important she is. You fought cancer and look how good and important you are. You are just like this princess. You guys are both so important. And so we have this message carved into Leah's Kids, and it kind of goes with our theme of why our parties are called A Crown a Kid and all these that we're very royalty and within the foundation. So she's an animation, but she's also a real person. So back to your question, my little sister Liliana is Princess Marigold. I designed the animation after Lily. She has a customized dress that is tailored to her body, and all how the princess looks is all off the features of my little sister. And when we were working with the designers to make it, I had pictures of Lily being sent in. So my little sister is very active in that sense that she serves as the princess. And then anytime I need help, I can really call any of my sisters and they're happy, you know, make a PowerPoint or a Canva, you know, something. So everyone serves, it's none of them full-time job or anything like that. But they all pitch in when I need a little bit of assistance.
I love that. That's good. I love it. It's a family thing. I don't know why I thought that question. I'm like, I got to ask her that because I wanted, you know, I think it's great when families can come together like that and support something like that and be a part of it. And you guys sound like an awesome fun bunch. So I love it. Love it.
We definitely are crazy.
Hey, crazy's good. So if you said a lot of really good things here, a lot of great advice for people wanting to start maybe a 501, C3 organization or this, but I want to take this back to you because you're obviously a go-getter and you've got drive and ambition. I can see it. You've got the energy, the passion. I can just see it all over you. So maybe for somebody who right now is starting something, and I don't know what that may be. It may be they're going to go run a marathon. Maybe they're training for that, or maybe they're going to start a new, foundation, or maybe they just have something and they're young and they're going through something right now that they're trying to really work hard for. What is some advice that you could lend them that would be helpful for them to push through this?
I think that the phrase, and it sounds kind of morbid at moments, but this will end. And you can take that however you want. So maybe if you're stuck in a ruck, this will end. maybe you are on the highest mountain and you are living your best life and you hear the phrase, this will end. And you're like, oh, that sucks. But but what's next? Because life is always going to keep moving. So what's next? If you don't like where you're at, let's change it. If you love where you're at, keep going and keep fighting. So I would say like knowing that you have the power to change it. But I think all of that really stems down to the power of your choice. Every day you can make that decision. If you're unhappy or if you love life or if you're going to let something affect you, you have the power to decide how that's going to affect you. For me, I remember being at a crossroads as a young kid. And it's like, do I be mad and angry at God for having cancer? Or do I choose to see the goodness in this and choose that I can do more with this? And so it's the power of, we all have that power of a choice. We all have that individual idea of where we want to go and what we want to be. And maybe we don't even have that yet, but you always have the power of choosing left or right, up or down. And so maybe you want to start a sticker pack or sticker company. I don't know, whatever it is, it all comes down from you choosing to do that, you choosing to take the next step and you choosing knowing that you can keep going even after this, because one thing is going to end and lead to another thing and lead to another thing. And being okay, like I can go on forever about this question, but just like sometimes like our greatest weaknesses are the very best thing. I mean, like, who would have guessed that cancer would be the very best thing that's ever happened to my life? And I can say that now as a grown adult that like, yeah, I'm so grateful for my cancer and I'll do it again because look at what it has given me. Look at all these kids I'm able to help and be with and grow Leah's kids and talk to people about their suffering. Like that is a gift that people want to share that with me. But I couldn't get here without fighting my own battle and carrying my own cross. And so just knowing that, hey, maybe this really hard time that you're in, like it's going to end. And then you can decide what you want to do with it after.
That was our moment, Leah. Bam, mic drop.
I hope that answered the question.
I love it. No, and I agree with you. It's all about the choice. It is. It's always about the choice, right? Every day, I have a mantra that I say, because I'm a big believer, in mantras and we all can go down. I call it the dark path of the rabbit hole. Bad brain thinking is what the term is we use in our house whenever we're, somebody's thinking bad. I say, okay, we're exhibiting bad brain thinking right now. But I have a mantra that I say, and it goes something like this. Today's a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. And so whenever I'm in I used to say it on my podcast many moons ago, but whenever I'm starting to feel kind of my own little victim state that I want to get in, or I'm just feeling kind of like I'm in that funk, I will repeat that over and over and over until I can eventually work myself out of that. So I do believe it comes down to choices. It really does. And, sometimes we think we don't have them, but we can always choose to look at things differently. We can always choose to make a phone call. We can always choose to put it down for the day and recommit the next day, Right. Sleep does wonders. That's what I tell people. If you're in a space, in an entrepreneur space or in a business space, sleep does wonders, right?
Yes. Restart, refresh, re-go.
Good stuff.
I love it.
All right. Last question I want to ask you before I do some super fun ones. If we were going to sum Leah up in one word, just one word, what would you say about yourself?
Hopeful or joyful.
I like it. I like it. Make my heart sing. That's so beautiful. I love it. I love your energy. I love your personality.
Thank you. Yeah, I would say that those would be the words for Leah.
Awesome. All right, well, Leah, this has been awesome. I'm going to do some fun rapid fire with you. We get to get unserious for a minute.
Okay, here we go. I'm ready.
But these are the fun questions. And I always love to do them because I feel like they just kind of make the human side of this kind of fun, relatable, right? Not that you're not. I think you are very relatable. And I think people are going to love this story. And they definitely need to go check out what you're doing and get your website, see all the good.
Yeah, please do. Follow us on social media. We're everywhere. So we'd love to connect with you.
Absolutely. Okay. So some fun questions. Let's see. First concert you've ever attended?
Oh, Thomas Rhett.
Ooh, I haven't gotten that one yet. How fun. All right. Favorite guilty pleasure food?
Oh, chocolate.
I like chocolate too. Did you know that when I was growing up, I did not like chocolate for many years?
Really?
Can you believe it? that weird?
That's okay. Well, I'm picky with my chocolate. Like, I don't want a chocolate Hershey bar. I have like this chocolate. I don't know if you ever heard of the store Aldi's. You get like this full chocolate bar is literally $1.38 and it's in this blue wrapper. It is my ultimate favorite one. And that's the one I eat.
Specific chocolate. It's like coffee lovers, right? They got people that drink coffee have specific coffee they like, right? But I love dark chocolate. So I like dark chocolate more, but I will eat some chocolate. But I'm funny because like I'm almost 50 now. No kidding. Majority of my life, I did not like chocolate. Everybody's like, you are so weird. And then one day I decided I loved chocolate. I just woke up and I love it. So you and I have something similar. All right. Favorite travel destination, favorite place you've been?
Okay. So every year for Christmas, my family goes to Orlando together and it's a Christmas tradition. So I would say that's my favorite. I have a lot of other places I want to go visit, but right now that's my favorite because it's a family tradition.
You guys go to Disney?
We go every year. So we don't always go to Disney. We're older. So we stay like at a very like fun resort thing. So there's a lot to do there and we're all older now. So we don't always go to Disney, but sometimes.
I still like Disney, so I would go.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Disney. We went to Disney World on a Make-A-Wish trip when I was a kid. And when you have that full Make-A-Wish experience with Disney World, when you go back on your own, it's just not the same. So we got the Mac Daddy experience and now it's kind of like, oh, well.
Yeah, you're like, I need that experience.
Yeah. Trust me, I do love going to Disney, but it's different after you experience the personal, every princess comes to your bedside, basically.
Sure. All right. Last fun question I want to ask you. All right. So Leah's young, you're in college right now. What do you love to do for fun when you're not spending time doing Leah's kids?
Okay, well, $1 million question there. For me personally, I am a big runner. So I love to run. That's just, I've always been, my whole family's been runners. So like my one thing is like, I love to go running. Yeah. So that's fun. But then I have my best friend actually just moved in with me. So having her in town is a lot of fun because we're having a good time. So that's some of my favorites.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, Leah, this has been amazing. So if our listeners want to come check you out, come check out Leah's Kids, learn more about your story, your nonprofit, maybe get involved, where do we want to send them?
Oh, goodness. Everywhere. Okay. So you could head over to our website, leahaskids.org. You can head over to our Instagram page. It's Leah's_kids. You can follow me on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're literally everywhere on social media, YouTube channel. We have so many different resources built in on our YouTube. So it's very, very fun. And a little fun fact, when you're looking up Leah's Kids, it's spelled Leia. So I'm named after Princess Leia. So there's no H. It's Leiaskids. So
Princess
keep that in mind.
Hey, you're going to love this. So when I was growing up, okay, because I already told you how old I am, my parents had Star Wars paper in our entryway in our main game room, which had Princess Leia and all of the stuff on it because we were all big Star Wars fans. And then we go into studio, my videographer, his whole like space is like Star Wars. It's everywhere. So everybody comments are like, somebody likes Star Wars in here. So your parents were doing good stuff.
It's great. It's great. And I'm honored to be named after her. So here we go.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure when this goes out that we'll put the website, we'll get you tagged. We'll make sure that all the links are there so they know where to go and find you guys at or find you and your story and all that good stuff. Perfect. All right. Well, this has been fun. I'm so excited for you and love, like I said, what you're doing. Keep up the amazing work and keep doing what you're doing. You've got a, great spirit. Love it.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. If I can ever do anything, let me know if you ever need anything. But yeah, I was super honored that you reached out. So thank you.
Absolutely. And we do, of course, want to say to our listeners, if you enjoy our show, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes, Facebook. Can't do this without you. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And as always, we say, in order to live the extraordinary, you must start. And every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, be kind to one another. We will see you next time.